Morning, CPSU members. Thought I'd jump on and give you a quick update on the Rockliff government's recent announcement around wide-sweeping GBE reform. So, the first part of this announcement is a new GBE, which is TT Line, Tas Freight and Tas Ports, and this is a direct response to the absolute debacle of the TT line and the lack of government oversight around that. The second is around wide-sweeping reform, which will increase the governance and legislative requirements on GBEs. Now, this looks good on paper. It's about giving Tasmanians a greater voice, making sure ministers can intervene when GBEs aren't acting in the interests of all Tasmanians, and making sure that GBEs together are acting in the interests of Tasmanians, not just individually. So we're broadly supportive of that, but what we would say is that this is not a failure of GBEs, it's an absolute failure of government to ensure that the operating environment of GBEs is fit for purpose, which it clearly isn't. Now, the third part of this announcement, which is probably the most concerning, is the fact that the government has clearly laid out their plans for privatisation. Now, we had some sense that this was coming. We've seen the public trustee announcement, we've seen TasTAFE kick to Fair Work, but essentially they have laid down now their blueprint for privatisation. Every GBE and state-owned company will be reviewed, and a decision will be made as to whether or not it remains in public hands. That means Port Arthur, Public Trustee, Tas Water, Sustainable Timber Tasmania are all going to be reviewed. Probably most concerning is we've got a 24-page document on the reform that's required, but very little detail about what assessment will be made as to whether or not something should retain in public hands. Now, you can guess our view on this. The evidence is clear. Privatisation costs the community and it costs workers in the long run. It's a really quick sugar hit for a very big bill at the end. It reduces services and it reduces wages and conditions. And actually, right across Australia and internationally, governments are starting to bring assets and services back into community hands. This is the wrong path, and it's really important as CPSU members that we fight hard to keep it ours. Public ownership is the best way forward for Tasmanians.